Hi, I'm Alan Hills, and welcome to the season finale of the College of St. Rose's movie review and discussion podcast, Cutting to the Chase, brought to you by the Campus Radio Club, Radio St. Rose. Since this is the end of the semester, I really wanted to do a podcast about Christmas movies in general, just Christmas movies off the tops of our heads. And some of you may already know that Radio St. Rose has another movie review and discussion podcast series called Your Boom is in the Shot, and it's hosted by two good friends of mine, Ben Mojica and TJ Gibson. In fact, I had both of them on the first episode of my show without any awareness that they were going to do a podcast series very similar to mine. And I have one of the voices of Your Boom is in the Shot right here with me right now to discuss Christmas movies off the tops of our heads. He is TJ Gibson. TJ, thanks for coming on again. You ready to do this, dude?
Absolutely, Alan. I'm stoked. Thank you for having me again, man.
Yeah, you're welcome. So, as communications majors here at St. Rose, we all talk movies in general, but when Christmas time rolls around, we tend to talk about them a lot because, there's just so many. They've all had such a huge impact on our lives, and, what are some, for you that really just stand out? What do you find yourself always talking about just to get started?
Well, as a 90s kid,
nice.
Who grew up into the 2000s and everything, a big one that always, for me, is, like Elf is a big one for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And it's got not, really a Christmas movie, but it isn't. Home Alone is the one that I always think of, too.
Oh, yeah, Home Alone, that is
There's lots of Christmas music in it, and, it takes place around Christmas time, and there's a lot of decorations and stuff. I also, Christmas Story is a classic one.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. Nightmare Before Christmas, which actually, it's funny when Ben and I on our Your Boom is in the Shot episode, our Halloween special, we talked about A Nightmare Before Christmas, and we talked about how that functions as both a Halloween movie and a Christmas movie, and so that's one of my favorite Christmas movies as well. I'm sure I'm leaving a couple off the list. Polar Express is a good one. The Christmas Chronicles, which you recently reviewed, is an excellent Christmas movie. I was really surprised by that.
Yeah, I know. It's funny, too, because, like I said on A Night at the Movies, my television show, it is literally just Kurt Russell being Santa Claus, and if you've seen Kurt Russell's older works from the 80s and 90s, he always plays those kinds of characters. And him bringing that kind of interpretation to Santa Claus, is really cool because in every movie they make about Santa Claus, it's the same kind of Santa. He's never, sarcastic in a humorous way or down to earth and a kind of personality that we're used to. And, that's why that movie is so brilliant. As for the Nightmare Before Christmas, I haven't seen that one a lot. I've seen A Christmas Story here and there, not since I was a kid. But yeah, Elf might still be my favorite to this day. And it's so weird. I feel like it was just yesterday when I first saw that movie. We were kids, and we were sitting at home, and we rented a copy of it from Hollywood Video. Yes, it was that long ago. And I remember thinking, this is one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. And when you're a kid, you can't necessarily understand, adult humor. Not that Elf does have adult humor. It is definitely,
it has a little bit of it.
Yeah,
it's
it
subtle.
is. I know it's subtle, but it is definitely the least craziest of the Will Ferrell comedies. And even though I was a kid, I'm like, this is one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. So yeah, Elf really is up there for me. I'd have to say maybe a close second would, of course, be National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's got that classic everyday John Hughes humor, that we can all relate to. And, a lot of the National Lampoon movies, I will say they are kind of a bit crazy, but,
I had a list. Oh, sorry to interrupt you. I had a list pulled up here because I was trying to think,
Yeah, no.
There's a few I'm leaving.
Hey.
The Grinch.
Oh, the Grinch. Yeah. I haven't seen that one in a while.
Okay.
I don't think at all, really. I've seen that one here and there, but yeah. Do you mean the Jim Carrey version or the cartoon?
Yeah, I haven't seen the new one yet, but I've seen the old cartoon as well, which is pretty good. But the Jim Carrey one was iconic for my childhood for sure.
I know. Yeah, I've seen the cartoon more. I haven't seen the Jim Carrey one because
it's on Netflix. You should
it
check it out.
Oh, I should definitely check it out.
Good.
I haven't seen the Benedict Cumberbatch one yet because I don't know, for some reason I can't relate to the humor of the Despicable Me movies. For some reason I just never made time to watch them.
That Illumination kind of
Illumination style humor. Yeah, and I'm disappointed. I expected it to be good, since Benedict Cumberbatch is voicing the Grinch of all people, and I'm sure it's incredible, but I just don't know if his kind of style fits the Grinch.
Smog himself.
I know, right? Cumberbatch has played so many iconic characters. But yeah, for me, the old Grinch cartoon is more iconic because that's the one I watched the most. I had the VHS tape, and yes, it was that long ago, once again. But
his heart grew 3 times the size that day.
I know, yeah.
It's a classic.
The old Christmas cartoons are great.
Iconic.
Yeah. But also, yeah, a close second for me was definitely National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I don't know if you've seen that one as well. Because
I think I saw it when I was a little kid, but I don't remember it too well. My parents used to watch a lot of the National Lampoon movies, so that was definitely one of them. I don't remember it super well. I remember the Family Vacation one's a bit more.
National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation is an absolute classic because it has that everyday John Hughes humor, that he masters so well in his writing, and it's just so funny. It's definitely the best in the series. It's a Christmas classic, and I definitely recommend you watch it because it's so good. As for other Christmas movies, I'm just trying to remember. Yeah, Elf is right up there, and then National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, and of course I grew up with all three Santa Claus movies all throughout my childhood.
Oh yeah,
I watched
Santa
the first
Claus.
one
yeah,
too.
That's a classic.
Have seen any of those?
Yeah. That's the. I don't think I saw any of the sequels, but the first Santa Claus, I was into that movie too when I was a kid. That's another one where I was like, I know I'm forgetting something, but that's the one I was thinking of. And that's like one of those great ones where it's like a regular person like takes over the role of Santa Claus. It's almost like when Jim Carrey takes over the role of God in Bruce Almighty. It's
yeah,
like, Tim Allen has to inherit this Santa Claus role, and he gets all big and fat and gets imbued with the magic and stuff. And then also another speaking of Tim Allen, I guess while we're on like the topic of him, Christmas with the Cranks. Have you seen that?
Yes, I love Christmas with the Cranks. Yeah, that's another one.
Yeah.
Is that still on Netflix? I really hope it is. It used to be.
It might be.
But yeah, I know. Yeah, I love Christmas with the Cranks. But yeah, still, the problem with the Santa Claus series though is that the first one is the best, because it has a lot of adult humor that a lot of people can relate to, and the second and third one, they're great too because they have all those logistic and scientific explanations on how Santa Claus does his thing. But those were intended more for for the kid audience, and the older you get, the harder it is to really enjoy those movies without being silly. They're incredibly lighthearted and well done, but sometimes it's just like, why am I wasting my time with this? But still, all three of those movies I consider them masterpieces.
That makes sense, because I really liked the first one. I think the reason that like makes me really like a lot of the Christmas movies that I do like, I mean, first of all, there's like that warmth of like a good Christmas movie, but like I think good Christmas movies, I mean, really good, like any like holiday oriented movie in general, but like especially for Christmas movies, it's like they're only like Christmas on the surface, like a lot of those really good like Christmas stories are like stories about family or or something like the Santa Claus was all about that father connecting with his son. Or like Elf is also about a son trying to connect with his father.
Oh my God,
The
wow.
Christmas Chronicles is about the two siblings like coping with the loss of their father and becoming closer, and and the Grinch is, it's fantastical, but it's about, this grumpy character who gets in, this little girl like shows him like love and how the specialness of Christmas and everything, and it's like there's this Christmas veneer, but underneath there's this deeply relatable and heartwarming story. That I think is like the one thing that all these movies that we are picking have in common, and I think that's not a coincidence. That's what makes them really special movies.
No, it's definitely not a coincidence. The family theme is a huge pattern in Christmas movies, and that is what makes them special in the end. They got to learn their lesson at the end. Presents and decorations not important, even though they're important to me, but I'm kind of hypocritical in that way, but still, it is very important.
There's nothing wrong with loving presents. I mean, that's a big part of Christmas. It's just you gotta also give presents to people, and not just receive presents, and then you're participating fully. But
I know,
that is a big element of Christmas. People are just like, I feel so bad because I love the present part of it, and it's like, well, that's part of it. I mean,
I know it really
it's
is
not the whole thing, but it's part of it. It's nothing wrong with being like, I can't wait to get my Christmas presents.
I know it really is, but movies are a great gift as well. Getting back to that subject, I really love the Home Alone series too. I mean, after 25, 30 years, those movies are still gold. I mean, I can't believe the first movie's almost going to be 30 years old.
Well, that's another great one with the family theme. It was about this kid who got left behind by his family, and his family misses him, and he misses his family, and but at first he's kind of like, I hate my family, and like and he once he is without them, then he realizes how much they really mean to him, and that he loves them, and then at the end it's like this bringing together, and it's really heartwarming when his family returns and he sees them again, and unbeknownst to them, but he's beat these burglars and had this big misadventure, and but it all circles back to like the love of family, and those movies are exciting, and I loved them when I was a kid, and I rewatched the first one not too long ago, last year for Christmas, and it's still to this day, like it's so fun. There's so many fun moments, like him messing with the burglars, or like the tarantula, or
I know, God, I love those parts.
Firing off the fireworks with the guy going with the gun from the movie.
I know, God, I love it.
Rocking around the Christmas tree. And all that.
I know.
There's so many great moments in the first one, and the sequel is good as well. At least I never saw any of the non-Macaulay Culkin sequels. I know there were a few, but
I don't care.
The first
for those,
and the second I liked a lot. Those first especially, it's iconic.
I know, the first two are great, and a lot of people, I think, especially critics critics don't even like the second one. I don't know why. I think both 1 and 2 are those rare 1 and 2s that actually work both together. The first one's great, where I think the second one's even better. I don't know. That's just me, And for me and my sister growing up, sometimes we just watch, the booby traps because, they have that kind of Looney Tunes cartoon humor come to life, and we just, found them so funny, So yeah, those movies are special in that way. My only complaint though is that I own both those movies on DVD, and they're both like 15 years old, so they're super grainy, and they've made so many remastered editions over the past few years with like bonus features. I just really want to get those too, but yeah, I still love those.
For Christmas, buddy.
I think I will.
Home Alone collection on Blu-ray, Mom.
And maybe Kurt Russell can bring it to me for Christmas.
There you go. He'll bring it to you and be like, "Here you go, kid. Don't ask me for anything more. I don't have my hat. I can't get back."
I know, yeah. I don't know if you've seen this one. Another Christmas movie that I really love, really grew up with. I don't know if you saw Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh
my God.
I don't think.
That really captures the stress of having to buy Christmas presents for those we love, especially for kids. Arnold Schwarzenegger plays his dad. He's the typical theme. The dad was never around. The kid's mad at him, and there's this new hot toy out called the Turbo Man action figure. And every store he goes to on Christmas Eve, it's gone everywhere, and he has a rival mailman who's also trying to find the toy as well, played by Sinbad. And the thing is that,
funny.
And the reason why that movie is so funny is because it captures that stress of trying to find Christmas gifts and the sometimes violent crowds you have to face, unfortunately. And even though the critics butchered that film as well, I highly recommend that because it is incredibly realistic. And Jim Belushi even has a cameo in it in which he's like a criminal Santa Claus in which they smuggle toys. It is kind of funny, but yeah, not many movies have captured that theme of the stress of getting a gift.
You've reviewed a few Christmas movies recently for your SRTV review show.
Yeah, I have.
A Night at the Movies. There was a few new ones that you really liked.
Yeah.
Could you talk about one of those? Because one of them kind of caught my ear. The Christmas
Train. The Christmas Train. Yeah, that's a Hallmark Channel movie. I know not everyone thinks so, but Hallmark Channel produces some good romantic films, especially during Christmas time. And the Christmas Train is particularly good because it has high-end production values, being part of the Hallmark Hall of Fame series, which has been around since the 50s, where they're given the same budget values as expensive theatrical films. And it has an all-Hollywood cast, and it's based on a David Baldacci novel. And for that reason alone, it was just a really beautiful, special movie.
And Danny Glover's in it, right?
Yeah, Danny Glover. He is awesome in that movie. It's Dermot Mulroney, Danny Glover, Kimberly Williams Paisley, and Joan Cusack.
Wow.
All an incredible cast. But yeah, I highly recommend it. It is on DVD and it's on iTunes. I highly recommend you try it out. And you saw the Christmas Chronicles, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Christmas Chronicles
I was
great.
really, Alan. I was honestly really surprised by the Christmas Chronicles.
I know, I was too.
I didn't think I was like gonna hate it, but I just expected it to be like, yeah, that was all right. But I loved it. Like, in my opinion, it was the best Christmas movie I've seen since Elf. Like, that's a movie that I will show my kids someday. Like,
oh yeah,
check out the Christmas Chronicles.
I will show them too. Hopefully, Netflix will still be around and they won't pull it. They might reserve it somewhere, and I might have trouble getting it, but I'm still going to show them. But
absolutely.
But yeah, the Christmas Chronicles. Another special thing about that movie is that it's not directed by, but it is produced by Chris Columbus, who directed both Home Alones and the
first two Harry Potters.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Yeah, and they celebrate Christmas in both those movies, and John Williams' score is very Christmassy. As he uses this instrument called a celesta. It's like a piano, and they make that sound. It's a very rare instrument, but it produces that kind of fantasy sound. In fact, Tchaikovsky was the first composer to use it in the Nutcracker in the 1800s, and it exemplifies that fantasy theme, and that's how it all started. So yeah, that's why the Harry Potters make us think of Christmas, and John Williams' score and Chris Columbus' direction.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because like when we were talking earlier, like Harry Potter popped in my head, and I was like, why is Harry Potter popping in my head right now? Does that have anything to do with Christmas? Because it's been a while since I've watched the Harry Potter movies, but yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, only the first two I think really feel Christmassy to me, because when Prisoner of Azkaban came out, the third one, they started to get really dark and and not so Christmassy anymore. And I kind of miss that. I really wish Chris Columbus would direct more movies like that, or maybe he has and I just don't know it.
I do remember scenes from either at least the first Harry Potter, maybe the second, where like it was Christmas and like they were all like going and getting their gifts and stuff for the different houses or whatever. Yeah, those. Yeah, the Harry Potter movies. That's a whole nother episode.
Yeah,
but,
it is. Oh yeah, we got
Chamber of Secrets is an amazing movie.
I know, Chamber of Secrets. I think the final Harry Potter is my favorite, not just because it's the final one, but because of film-related reasons. For its acting and its cinematography. I love the cinematography, but Chamber of Secrets really is a close second. I love the filming and the acting of that movie, and it feels so long too, but in a good way. All the action that occurs is like really amazing, and I just love the fact that they give Harry Potter a sword. I grew up on swashbuckler films, and I just love that theme. But it's kind of big to be a swashbuckler sword. It's more like a knight's sword, but it was very magical.
It has
and
more
I
of
love
an
it.
Excalibur kind of deal
thing,
to it. Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely wish Chris Columbus would do more Christmas films, and I think he really is making a comeback with the Christmas Chronicles. It really is really nice. But.
Yeah, no, that movie is really good, and I do love that they have Kurt Russell as Santa. It's a great idea. When I first saw it, I was like, Kurt Russell? And then once I started watching it, I was like, of course. Like, this is a perfect cast. And, like, especially when he's in the jail and he breaks into Elvis. And
Santa Claus is Back in Town. I know we all love that song
so
in my
good.
family. And my uncle, he particularly loves the line, you're going to see me coming in a big black Cadillac. So the fact that Kurt Russell, puts on the shades during that part, I just, like, burst out laughing when he did that. It was, like, so freaking funny.
He's just pulling guitars out from behind him out of nowhere.
I know.
Like, here you go, guys.
And you can tell he's just having so much fun with it, too. It was really
talking to these full-grown adults. He remembers what they got on, like, Christmas for, like, when they were 5.
I know, yeah. It's freaking brilliant. But yeah, and another movie that counts as a Christmas movie, as much as I hate to say it, it was marketed as a Christmas movie, released during Christmas, and it's still a Christmas movie. Daddy's Home 2. I don't know if you saw that.
I haven't seen the second one yet. I've only seen the first one so far. But that's the director of Instant Family.
Yeah, and the first Daddy's Home. He's a brilliant director. I think Mark Wahlberg really is creating some good bonds with directors because he did all those action movies with Peter Berg about heroic American men and women. But yeah, now he's doing the same thing, with Sean Anders with these family-themed comedies. The first Daddy's Home is still my favorite because it has a lot of classic humor, where Daddy's Home 2 gets a little more wackadoo, but it's still
I know they doubled it up.
Funny.
It's like it's their daddies as well.
Right, yeah, and that's why it's funny because they casted those guys, and it's a great Christmas film too. It's Christmas all the way, and you know it. But yeah, Mel Gibson is Mark Wahlberg's dad, the rough and tough one, and John Lithgow is Will Ferrell's dad, and the way they clash is so classic. Yeah. It's one of the most perfectly casted movies I'd ever seen. But yeah, that's also a very funny Christmas movie. And as much as I hate to count this one as a Christmas film too, because it just doesn't feel like it, and I don't think that it should. Everyone counts the first Die Hard as the first Christmas film.
Oh,
you notice that?
I haven't seen that since I was a kid either. That's kind of an oversight for me. I haven't seen enough of the Die Hard franchise. I've seen the first one definitely. Like some of the movie that my parents watched a lot when I was a kid.
I know, yeah. I think the second one counts too because that was like at an airport as opposed to a giant plaza skyscraper. But yeah, that's kind of a Christmas one too.
So not to change the subject too sharply, but you said you haven't seen A Nightmare Before Christmas, or you haven't seen it in a while.
I don't. Well, I saw many previews of it, saw it on TV, but I never actually watched it at all. I guess it just never was my thing.
Dude,
but I definitely have to put it on
my
my
to-do list. You gotta see it, man.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's really good if you like Tim Burton's aesthetic at all.
Yeah, I kind of like it.
It's not directed by him, but it's produced and it's from his brain, creation, the characters and everything. It's kind of like if you've seen like Corpse Bride or any of those, like it's very much of that aesthetic, or like the original Batman movies, but it's not like that. It's not that dark, but the animation is incredible. It was, it's cutting edge by today's standards for stop motion, but it was made in '93.
Yeah, I know.
But it's about this I'm not going to give any spoiler stuff away, but basically it's like this. It starts off in like this Halloween world, and there's this guy who's Jack Skellington, the iconic skeleton character.
Oh yeah.
And he is voiced partially by Danny Elfman, who like sings all of his songs, who did all the score for that movie, which is iconic in and of itself.
Yeah.
And he goes to like this portal world where he sees like all these entrances to different worlds, and he's been living his whole life in Halloween world, and he sees this Christmas world, and he's like, what's this? And he like goes into this world, and he falls in, it's Christmas time, and it's snowing, and kids are making snowmen and warming up by the fire and putting presents under the tree, and he's like just mesmerized by this world. And he comes back to Halloween world, and he's like, we got to celebrate Christmas. And he just like spreads like the Christmas joy, and there ends up becoming this crazy misadventure, and lots of weird crap happens, but it's a super entertaining movie, and it's like an iconic part of my childhood. But like even as an adult, like my parents love it, and it came out when they were like in their mid-20s. It's a movie I think you would really love, and you can get it. Like I literally just bought it on Blu-ray like a couple weeks ago for like $8 on Amazon.
Nice.
So
I should
if you want to pick it up, man.
Yeah, I should definitely take some time to see it. It does sound like a whole lot of fun. And I can't believe I'm about to say this because I love Christmas time. It is my favorite time of year. Not to sound generic, but it is. And I love pretty much every Christmas movie that comes out. But there is only one that I'm generally unsatisfied with. I don't know about you, but. The Polar Express, I saw that like 15 years ago. I do have my problems with that movie. I think it's a great idea, nice animation, but there's something about it that's really thin.
It's the animation. Like the thing is
it
did a really good job at adapting its original source material. It's not easy to pull a story into a movie, and like a lot of time, like a book, because all movies are stories, but like a lot of times it's hard to condense a big book down to a movie, but this was the case of condensing a smaller book into a bigger movie, and they had to add more to it and flesh it. And I think they did a good job with that from a story perspective. Again, this is a movie I haven't seen in probably 7-8 years, but but I think the problem was that the Polar Express was just a little too far ahead of its time, like with the animation. Like if it had been made today, I think they would have nailed it, but I think they just weren't ready for like the mocap animation. It was too creepy. It was too like Uncanny Valley, where like the whole time you're watching, you're kind of like, this, I'm uncomfortable because like Tom Hanks almost looks like real Tom Hanks, but his eyes are a little not right, and his skin's too smooth. It's like it's not quite human enough. It's creepy.
I know, the conductor seems like a cool character, but the animation is kind of creepy, and it is way ahead of its time. The mocapping has worked very well. I think it even looks better in Disney's A Christmas Carol with Jim Carrey, another one that I love.
Yeah.
They did mocapping for that one, and even though it is a pinch smooth, it does look like way better. And aside from the mocapping, I remember my dad saying to me a few years ago, because he didn't care for the movie either, imagine if Pixar did the Polar Express. They would have knocked it out of the park if Pixar did it. I mean, they would have made it funny. There would have been character development. They didn't even give us any of the kids' names in that. And they gave them weird credits at the end credits. They gave them weird names in the end credits. It was just so weird how they did that movie. But that's pretty much the only Christmas movie I know that I've been unsatisfied with. But
I'm trying to rack my brain for other Christmas movies. Maybe
no.
I
got a whole shelf of them actually.
This list here, like I was telling you.
God, there was another one.
I mean, there's a lot of movies that are like pseudo Christmas movies, like Love Actually or something.
Love Actually,
it takes place kind of during Christmas.
You bring up such a good point about pseudo Christmas movies, and I'm gonna transition for a brief moment from the cinema to the television set. Do you watch the TV show Psych at all?
No.
I've
seen a little bit of it. I've seen a few episodes here and there.
Yeah, it was about
is
a fake.
Is that show still going?
No, it ended in 2014. It ran from 2006 to 2014. He's a fake psychic detective, and the guy who plays his name's James Rode. He's like super funny. But last December they aired a comeback movie called Psych the Movie. It was set during Christmas time, and I gotta tell you, it was brilliant because the Christmas inclusion was nice, and sometimes you forget it, but they remind you almost every second, almost. And the thing is, it was like that TV show never left the way that they did it. And it's interesting because they did do a musical special, which wasn't that good. Some of the songs were great, but I for some reason I don't know why the comeback movie was way better than that musical, and in a sense way better than the TV show. And I think the Christmas inclusion definitely helped. Going back to that pseudo Christmas theme you were talking about here, and that was good too.
Sometimes that's a gimmick, when you see things, like it's our Christmas special, like what TV shows do that. But sometimes it works. And like sometimes like when you get those pseudo Christmas movies or episodes, stories, whatever. Have you seen Tim Burton's Batman movies?
Yeah, only the first one.
I don't want to spoil it for you, but like the second one, has a lot of Christmas elements in it. It has like the Penguin is like the main bad guy, and it takes place during Christmas, and there's like like some of the bad guys, the Batman has the fighter dressed in like these like Santa costumes, and they're firing machine guns at him in Santa outfits and stuff, and marching penguin bombs down the street with Santa hats on them and stuff.
That's bizarre.
It's super goofy, and it's snowing in Gotham the whole time, and it takes place like it's Christmas adjacent, but it's not like revolving around Christmas, but there's some of that spirit there. It's like you could watch that movie during Christmas,
I know. For a long time I wanted to consider Die Hard Christmas adjacent, even though it isn't. It takes place during the Christmas season, but come on, it's an 80s themed action movie. The last thing we want to think about is Christmas. You know what I mean? It's really bizarre, but yeah, they've done so many interesting things with Christmas movies over the past few years. I'm trying to remember some more, but
Jack Frost. Have you seen Jack Frost with Michael Keaton?
No, I haven't.
That's on my list as well.
I heard about it many times when I was a kid, but no, I never actually fully watched that one.
Well, then there's also these just popped into my head now. I can't believe I didn't bring these up sooner. But like the Christmas cartoons we watched when we were kids. Like, Rudolph and
the Rankin and Bass stop animation films.
Yeah.
Those
are great.
Those.
There's Santa Claus is Coming to Town. I think is that the name of it.
Yep.
Yeah, Rudolph is always probably my favorite. But also I forget the name of it. But there's one that had like the little elf boy that wanted to be a dentist.
Oh, yeah, that's Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Is that Rudolph?
Yeah. He's a character in that. Yeah. Oh God, what was his name?
I was thinking it was a different movie.
Herbie. Yeah, he was Rudolph's buddy. Yeah. That's the same thing. But yeah.
And then Frosty, which was like 2D animation, but still like a classic.
Yeah, still the same producers, Rankin and Bass. Yeah, but still, I think I love Rudolph too, but Santa Claus is Coming to Town. That was my favorite as a kid. I memorized all those songs. I watched it religiously.
That's what like
really
ushered in
for
Christmas for me when I was a kid. It was like
me
our
too,
family put up the tree, and my mom would light like the cinnamon and cedar candles, and it smells like Christmas. We're making cookies, and the ornaments are up, and then we would watch Rudolph and watch Santa Claus is Coming to Town.
I know,
like, that's how you know you're like it's Christmas now. And like when you're a kid, you're like, oh my god, like when you're a kid, like you really love Christmas because you're like presents. You know?
I still have this Christmas ornament. It's a little statue. It's with Herbie, touching Rudolph's nose when he discovers it can light up. It's a really special ornament. And my sister has another one too, where it's just like Rudolph covered in the sleigh straps.
Yep.
But it's still Santa Claus is Coming to Town is still number one for me.
Foot in front of the other.
I know.
Yeah, it's iconic, dude.
I know. You got Mickey Rooney and Fred Astaire, who are two iconic 1940 stars reuniting in the '60s for this magical Christmas special. It really is amazing. But
the silver and gold thing that the guy
silver gold. Oh yeah, and Burl Ives and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Yeah, another iconic star of the time. Yeah, it's brilliant. But the cartoons have had a huge impact on us as well. I'm trying to remember another cartoon. I can't remember. Maybe the Polar Express. That one stunk. But the Rankin and Bass are still unbeatable. A lot of these Christmas movies really are unbeatable. And
well, it's like Christmas is like I think the only other holiday that comes close to Christmas in this regard is Halloween, but like it has a whole culture around it.
Yeah.
Like we wouldn't really be able to have like an Easter movies episode. You know what I mean? Like or like 4th of July or something. Like again, he's like that's an American holiday, but still like
right.
Like Christmas really has like an entire culture around it, and like there's a couple like months out of the year, or at least like a month and a half, where you're like it's Christmas time, or the holidays, that as well,
right.
In general now, but like, if you're somebody, especially if you're somebody who celebrates Christmas, it's like, it's a very special time. It's like, oh, we're putting up the tree and, the ornaments, and we're watching the movies, and we're going to drink, put cinnamon in our hot chocolate, and we're going to go make snow angels. And like, even for somebody like me who isn't like crazy on winter weather,
no,
I always look forward to at least like Christmas spirit, Christmas time, and getting into that thing. And I think the movies are an essential part of that for our modern, pop culture,
Yeah, I agree with you totally.
And it's a, no pun intended, a hallmark of
this, you're
culture,
totally right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then January comes around, that love of snow just fades away like you never had.
All of a sudden you notice that it's all dirty from the plows, and you're like, get the snow out of here. Now I'm ready for Easter. Let's watch an Easter movie. I don't know about any Easter movies, but let's watch
I don't
them.
think there are any aside from Bible themed stuff. But there's no fun Easter movies. They should definitely do that. That'd be really cool.
Let's do that, man. Let's make an Easter movie.
Yeah, I'm in.
Let's do it. Let's make it.
Let's do it. Hey, another movie just came to my mind, and I definitely recommend it. There aren't that many good period Christmas films, but this one was really good. Last November, they made a movie called The Man Who Invented Christmas. It's about Charles Dickens and how he wrote A Christmas Carol. And it's interesting because they put a little fantasy into the mix, because he's envisioning the characters as he's writing it, and he's talking to them and interacting with them, and especially Scrooge. Charles Dickens is played by, I don't know if you heard of Dan Stevens. He's a very famous British actor. He got famous on Downton Abbey. He's really good. And Christopher Plummer's in the movie. He is right where he belongs as Ebenezer Scrooge. It's a return, to that classic Captain Von Trapp meanness from The Sound of Music that we all love him for. And I highly recommend it. It's a really good Christmas movie. That's really another one. You've seen that at all?
No, I haven't. But that sounds like another good one I should put on my list.
Yeah, I know a few good film adaptations of A Christmas Carol as well. They've done so many remakes of that. Like I like Disney's A Christmas Carol by Jim Carrey.
That's a classic, story in and of itself, right? Like, the story of the, the ghost of Christmas past, and like Scrooge, like showing like Scrooge, like, and like like you've seen like I always loved the Duck McScrooge when I was a kid. Like
I know, Duck McScrooge,
like watching like that rendition of it, but it's like it still is like the same story. It's like this guy, like basically the message is like, hey, like be nice to people, and like
I know,
be thankful for what you have and all that, because like look, like this is what will come of Christmas. Like if you're mean to people, or this is what could be in your future or whatever. And it was always like a good and inspiring, positive message to me when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Like or similar, like another one that's popped in my head is Miracle on 34th Street.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen that in a long time, but yes, that is good. Yeah.
I saw a live theatrical version of that too.
Oh, nice.
When I was a kid, that was really good. That's another like heartwarming Christmas story.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But with like that classic Santa that you were saying, Kurt Russell is not at all.
No way. Yeah. But yeah, no, I definitely need to see Miracle on 34th Street again. That one was really good. And going back to A Christmas Carol, there was one made with early 2000s, maybe late 90s, I don't know, definitely 2000s, with Patrick Stewart as Ebenezer Scrooge.
Oh,
and that one is particularly good, and my mom particularly likes that one because it's so well done. And he is a great Scrooge, Patrick Stewart. You wouldn't think so, but Patrick Stewart's one of my favorite actors. I think he's very underestimated.
Oh, he's diverse. He's super diverse.
I know.
I mainly think of him as Charles Xavier or Picard, but
I know, yeah.
Yeah, he's done a lot of other roles too.
I know, he's a particularly iconic actor. So, yeah, and Christmas movies themselves are iconic, and I hope to see some more good ones in the future because there has been a shortage, I have noticed. They still make them, but there has been a huge shortage. Like seeing ones like, Office Christmas Party, which I haven't seen, but it looks funny, but I want something lighthearted, especially during Christmas.
There's one
time.
You might like if you haven't already seen it. A couple years ago, I think it was a Netflix original, or it might have been like Stars or HBO or something, but it was like a Murray Christmas. It was like Bill Murray.
I started watching that the other night. It was good. It was really good.
I enjoyed that one a lot.
I didn't finish it because I just got so tired. But Very Murray Christmas was really good. I love all the cameos and all the musical numbers that he does. I think given Bill Murray's comedic talent though, like it could have been a pinch funnier. Because he just makes you laugh in all his older movies. And I don't know if you saw Scrooged, where he's like a modern day version of Scrooge. He runs this media television company.
I haven't. I've always wanted to see that one though.
And the movie opens like with a commercial, and the North Pole's getting invaded, and all the elves start whipping out machine guns. It's like this huge invasion. He's like a total jerk in it, of course, but Scrooge is particular. And just to reiterate, it's called Scrooged. That's what separates from everything else. Scrooged. He gets Scrooged. His name is not Scrooge, but yeah, that movie is particularly brilliant. I highly recommend it. And yeah, we definitely need some more Christmas movies, and keeping them alive is very important. Well, TJ, unfortunately, that's all the time we have. Thank you so much for coming on. Merry Christmas, and congratulations on graduating. It was so great to have you again. I hope to maybe collaborate professionally with you one day. It would be so great.
Absolutely, Alan. I would love to, and thank you for having me on for a second time on your show. It's been an honor, and it's been awesome to talk about these movies, and thank you for the congratulations. I'm excited to graduate.
Hey, you're welcome, man. Merry Christmas, and congrats once again.
Merry Christmas to you, Alan.
Once again, I'm Alan Hills, and this has been Cutting to the Chase. Thank you all for listening this season. It's been a good one. We'll be back next semester for Season 2. Until then, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and Happy New Year.